Boom! Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. I, of course, am your, I guess you'd call me host, Dark, DLD After Dark, and we have a very special guest who has been on Dark was tucking his kids into bed and then tucking his PWEDC to get ready for the stream. See, you know me too well, man. We have a very special guest who's been on DLD before, but obviously is back. Had to have him come back, man. Too many exciting stories. So everyone, welcome Flying, Flying Rich, back to the stream. So how
Yeah,
you been, man?
excitement just follows me.
Yeah, right. How you been?
The
And
the
what,
cops were
what
all
you up
well,
to?
the police and cops were all here, but it wasn't for me. It was two houses down.
Yeah. So was
We're
that you
good.
said it was a car fire?
Yeah, I think it was a car fire.
Damn. Yeah, they were rolling deep out there. They
I
he
guess it
showed
was a
me.
boring night.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, were they setting mortars off from the back of that truck? Is that what was going on?
Ah, like a firework technical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think it was. I mean, it was a Toyota Hilux, so
Yeah. I thought Toyotas were supposed to last forever, but guess not. Um, what? Flying Rich in the house tonight. Evening, fellas. What's up, Texas Bullet? Armitage, Shred
oh wow,
Wizard,
we got
Bacon,
Swamp Dog.
Swamp Dog Millionaire, Armitage, Gurchop. Everybody acknowledge Gurchop. Opie, what's up, brother?
Which Opie? Opie
And
and the Smokies?
Opie is Opie
Different
safe.
Opie?
Yeah, probably a different Opie. And who else we got here? I wanna Detective John Kimball. It's not a Tuma. What's up, brother? Walter P380, P380. Yeah, P380. What's up?
Yeah, he's talking about me being a Tusk millionaire. I'm actually a
Ah,
Tusk multi-millionaire.
multi
Mm-hmm.
Tusk millionaire, baby. Apache Wolf. What's up, brother? Long time no see. Yeah, you know the reason I call you Swamp Dog Millionaire is because of that old movie Slumdog Millionaire.
Aha.
But I usually just call you Swampy, Swamp Dog. So, um, but yeah, so you are not in your typical Florida man residence today, are you?
Yeah, I'm at the Hughes Compound Northern Command that I hope to be retiring.
Yeah.
So I've been here for a couple of weeks. I was hoping I would just be here a week and put the finishing touches on it so it's ready for sale. But it's going a little longer than I expected. But again, I work remote, so they don't care where remote is.
Nice.
So
Good, man.
I'm remote in New York, but it's a holiday weekend. I'd rather be home,
Yeah.
home in Florida. I'm behind
When
enemy lines.
yeah, for real. I mean, are you even able to well, we don't need to necessarily talk about that, but based on their current laws, are you allowed to transport or have a firearm in the home?
I, you know, I guess I could have brought like a Mos Nagant with me or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, so for a while when I was bouncing back and forth between New York and Florida, here's the
Mhm.
dumbest thing in the world. So whatever features on an AR-15 make it illegal in New York, whether it's a telescoping stock or
Mhm.
telescoping folding stock, whatever, bayonet lug, because we all know bayonet murders in New York are on the rise. Um, let's see, rocket launcher is also bad because we all know AR-15 rocket launcher deaths are
Of
really
course.
on the rise.
Amongst the
Um,
highest of all
but
deaths.
if you had an SKS with a 10 round mag, fixed mag, in a folding telescoping stock with a foregrip, it's completely legal.
Really?
Yes.
So then I would literally have what's up, Sport Brand? I would have like the armory concept we've spoken about a few times, like where you just have a bunch of the same gun, a bunch of the same parts, and you can arm others if needed. I would just have a shitload of SKSs and a shitload of stripper clips, and of course spike bayonet, no doubt.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, Shred Wizard, man, I'm sorry you can't stick around, brother. It's sad to see you go. but I love to watch you lead. I'm just kidding. Take care, man. um, Michael Johnson, home. Yeah, I think he was saying so. His home is in Florida. Him being in like up north is behind enemy lines. Apache Wolf says, "What about the AR chainsaw attachment?"
I actually I bought that domain. I bought chainsawbayonet.com.
Really?
Yeah, I own chainsawbayonet.com.
No shit. That was a good move. Anybody you could sell it to?
I don't know. Like sometimes I buy domains for the hell of it.
Yeah. Definitely do not buy darkmavis.com.
That's all right, Dave. I won't do that. Oh, Jesus. Dark. I mean, dark.
Oh shit. There we go. Every time, man. What's
It's a
up,
Freudian
Faith?
slip.
Yeah, I know. It's everybody just calls me Dave. So what else you been up to? Anything exciting? You hit your 3,000 subs, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I wanted to shoot the AK underwater before I left for New York, but it so now here's the dumb thing. It rained almost every day the week before I went to New York. They're like, "Well, you're going to shoot underwater," but I'm like, "I'm going to have above water cameras."
Yeah. It- yeah. I'm tracking.
So yeah, people were busting my chops on that one. So yeah, I got to get it done. I really, and I'll tell you what the funny thing was. So I was doing a live stream and my wife, so I'm probably the worst YouTuber in the world because I'm on everybody else's channel and not my own.
Put your own.
So I do more hours of content on other people's channels than mine.
That is an excellent way to grow your channel, though. You just have
Yeah, I
to remember
guess.
to do content on your channel as well.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I was gonna quick put together a video on the Envoy, the oxygen sensor issue I was talking to you about earlier. So I figured that would be a good one because I didn't see.
Yeah.
Usually I go to YouTube for mechanical repairs, and nobody had a video on that.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. You know what? As I'm just kind of casually talking to you, I'm remembering that a lot of people here may not know who you are, especially being that we're up to 1,420 subs. We got some new people. So,
Oh, okay,
um,
cool.
you want to introduce yourself, give kind of a general intro?
Um, well, all right. So, gosh, I don't know where to start, but um, I grew up in New York, and like I guess maybe 14 years ago, I moved down to Florida, and actually, this is the house my great grandfather built. My great great grandfather built the house next door, which was still in the family. So it, I'm sentimental about it, but the amount of money I'm going to get for this place outweighs the sentiment.
Yeah,
It's
that'd be hard to
just
sell, man.
stupid. It's just yeah, I've been super sentimental about it, and then when the real estate agent told me what I could get, I'm like, sell now.
Yeah.
Um,
And this market
anyhow,
is nuts for
uh,
people that don't know. This market nationally is just crazy right now. And Apache Wolf, he does fly planes, and we will touch on that. Trust me, he
so
does more than flying them. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, so I'm an IT guy. I did software development for a number of years. I'm doing VMware infrastructure now. Uh, and we're remote since COVID, so they don't care where I'm remotely working from. So that's why I'm able to, I drove up on the weekend and I'm able to spend, weeks out of state. So yeah, 1,000-hour instrument pilot, and I've owned two experimental aircraft. I still own one. The first one had a RUD event actually at Iceland MacArthur Airport down the road here, and not too far from where John Crump is right now.
Yeah, that's right.
And
He's out there too.
yep, yep. And the second one, I had an in-flight emergency, landed on a road in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and took out a power wire, a stop sign, a speed limit sign, and I hit a car. Interestingly enough, since I've been flying, I have had no car accidents, unless you count me hitting a car with an airplane. I don't
That
know.
could count. We won't add that one in. That's okay. It's interesting though, because and I do for those that hadn't heard it, I'd love to kind of just even if it's like a 30,000 foot view story, to kind of go back over like your experience with those two incidents. But So what's your? I don't think I've ever really asked this. What's your affiliation with Crump? How did you guys link up and like all that stuff?
So I guess, probably if I'm on the channel, I got to talk Second Amendment. And growing up behind enemy lines in New York, the Second Amendment always made incredibly logical sense to me. Um, I would have told you I grew up in a home without guns. My dad hunted, but I I forgot how old I was. He showed us his guns. He said, "You will never touch them." And for the most part, we never even, my sister and I never even thought of them again.
Yeah.
He just, explicitly told us they're absolutely, you know, off, do not go near, period.
Yep.
So
Guns are bad.
yeah, yeah. And, but, carrying and all that bit just seemed to make a whole lot of sense to me. I was actually working in Minnesota, and one of my coworkers, I think he got more people carry permits in Minnesota than the NRA did. Like he's actually
Mm.
trained and gotten more people permits. So I was like, "Hey, what are you doing Saturday?" And I'm like, "Nothing." He's like, "Why don't you come to my class?" I'm like, "Okay." And it wasn't a
Nice.
free class; I had to pay. So,
Yeah.
and actually, the guy's name is Andrew Rothman. So if anybody's familiar with him, he big advocate of the Second Amendment. Um,
Nice.
and then I did the class, and he's like, "So here's the funny thing. I was with like three other guys, and they're going for the renewal." And I actually shot better than the guys that already had their permit, which I thought was kind of funny. I was like,
Dang.
really? All right. So if the guys want to see my plane, just type in November 144 Tango Juliet. So N144TJ. A couple of pictures will pop up. One is, what is it? AVWeb or AirNav? What is it? One of these sites. You'll see some pictures of my plane. That's actually my plane. So I'll just type it in the chat here.
Let's see if I can pull it up here.
There's a picture of my plane and my wife on one of them.
Should I like blur your wife out? Are you okay
No,
with
no,
that?
it's not a sharp, super up close picture. Flightaware.com is the one. Yeah, that has my wife and my airplane.
I see. Okay. Flight aware. Okay. November 114 Tango Juliet.
It's funny, everybody does that. You did 114. Air traffic control always does that too.
Oh, do they
It's 144 TJ.
oh 144?
Yeah.
Oh, well that may be why I'm not pulling it up.
So the guy that built the plane, his name was Tom Gross. So 144 is a gross.
Ah. Should you call it gross?
So
Oh, I don't see. Oh, I do
all
see a
right.
picture.
And the
Ah,
guy asking about paramotoring. So as us snobs that actually own aircraft and fly real aircraft, we say friends don't let friends fly lawn furniture.
it kind of is lawn furniture, but it's dope lawn furniture. That
So
thing is crazy looking.
so that's a Cozy 3. It's a derivative of a design by Burt Rutan. Burt Rutan designed the Long Easy, which is exactly that plane with a narrow fuselage, one in the front, one in the back. It's actually a three-seater, so two up front and one in the back.
Nice.
And with a 150 horsepower Lycoming that was in the earlier model Cessna 172s, its flight performance, basically, I'm starting to fly at the top speed of a Cessna 172. So
Okay.
if the Cessna 172's flight performance is between here and here, my flight performance is between here and here.
Interesting.
So the goof is that plane. It's nearly as aerobatic as the Air Bull Air Racers, which is fun as crazy fun. But when you're doing an instrument landing, it's really scary. So
Yeah.
that's when you want something that maneuvers like a brick. You don't want something agile coming in for an instrument landing. That's so if I was doing an instrument landing, all right. So the nose gear retracts. So when you park it, if you look under the nose, you'll see the nose strut just down a little bit.
Yep.
And when you park it like that, that's what we call the grazing position. And if it's not tied down like that and you just put gust locks in the rudder, it's good for 40 knot winds in any direction.
Really?
Whereas your friendly neighborhood Cessna would be tumbling down the airport.
Yeah, and it's well, two questions. Well, one question and a statement. Is that a propeller in the back?
Yeah, yeah. So it's 150 horsepower engine in the back, and it flies like if you go to 10,000 feet, it flies at like 150 knots, burning about 7.5 gallons an hour. And I think it's a 42-gallon tank on that.
Dang, so you could fly across the country in that.
Yeah, I'll do like 5-hour flights because that gives me a 1-hour safety margin, and depending on your bladder, that's about as much as you want to fly.
Yeah.
So I'll do like Islip MacArthur, Long Island to North Palm Beach Airport in like 7 hours. It's actually 6.5 airtime with a half-hour stop, and I'll get fuel and something to eat at Columbus County, North Carolina,
Dang.
because they usually have. It's a little airport in the middle of nowhere, but they have cheap fuel, and it's almost
Yeah.
halfway, so it's just a great place to stop.
Nice, man. That's cool shit, dude. I've always been intrigued by flying. I have flown a single engine Cessna by myself before.
Oh, cool.
Don't believe him. John Crump says, "Welcome, Crumpy."
Crumpy!
What's up, brother?
I'm going to drive over where Crump is right now. Is it okay if I go mobile?
Sure. You do what you like. Do what you like what you do. Cool thing, I guess, interesting thing that I noticed is that, and when I say alone, I wasn't by myself, right? I had control of the aircraft, is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I flew it. Anyway, so the most interesting thing to me is that we took off at like between 45 and 55 miles an hour.
Yeah, you get the flaps down in like 152. Was it a two-seater?
It was actually a one, two, three, four, five-seater.
Cessna with 5 seats?
Single engine Cessna, old as hell, in Vegas, and me, two buddies in the back, and the pilot in the front. And once he got it up, he would switch the stick over and let us take the. It had two sticks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most planes do.
Yeah, I mean, he had said that it was a single engine Cessna. Are you thinking it was something else?
Typically they're 4-seaters.
Okay, yeah, it could have been four. I'm just remembering the rear seat is like a bench, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
but I may be misremembering. It was probably 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So my plane actually, so Cessnas usually have a yoke, a U-shaped yoke.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you remember?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
so
said
my
stick,
plane,
but it's
yeah,
the
my plane
stick
actually
below the
has a side stick in the left. So you fly typically from the left side. So in the left armrest is a stick, and in the right armrest for the person on the right side is a stick on the right side. And
Oh,
the
so
throttles
it's
are in the center.
normal to have
Two
two
controls,
sets
yeah.
of controls. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was normal. What's up, Lego man? I didn't know if that was normal because I was in a plane in Vegas where they take you up and they let you fly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's kind of like those cars where, when you're taking your driver's test and the driver has controls,
Hmm.
but you have a set of pedals and a steering wheel as well. I just figured it was
Yep.
like that, but it was cool, man. There's nothing more exhilarating and terrifying at the same time to realize that you are in complete control of yourself and every other soul
Oh, yeah.
on there. Like that's I've never had more steady hands that I wanted to just like shake at the same time. But it was a crazy experience.
Yeah, probably, one of the coolest moments is your first solo flight where you're like, oh my gosh, it's all on me.
Yeah.
that's where you've been flying, but you don't have solo experience, and every time you've ever flown, there was some guy next to you making sure he did everything right.
Yeah.
So
I mean that I will say when I went up there, my first thought when I came back down and was safe and touched the ground, like, "Whew, thank you." Because one of the guys with us he's a kid, you know. I mean, I'm young too, right? But like he was a kid. Um, he was just way more comfortable with it, man, and he was just he said, "What's the furthest, like, amount of degrees that I can, that I can turn?" And I was just like, "Dude, I'm gonna puke if you keep doing this." And, when I got back down and was very grateful that I, was still, um, here, um, the first thing I thought of was, "Man, I wanna go, like, get my pilot's license." Like, so I looked into it and, actually literally started to sign up for a course, but I never did it.
Yeah, it could be pretty expensive. I mean, even now, I mean, I did it. I think it was like 15 years ago, and cost, of course, always go up. So,
Yeah,
and it's one of these things. I When I got my license, I was working a job where I had 2 weeks off a month, and then later on, I was actually working for a hospital in Manhattan, and we had like 6 weeks off. And then I got to go to every air show I wanted to go to. I'd fly to the air shows and stuff like that. So I did have a lot of fun with the plane doing that. Now I'm back to like the 2 weeks and whatever vacation days again,
yeah,
because the Florida hospitals aren't as generous. So in New York, any job you have in New York, you get 2 weeks off. If you live in Boston, you get like 6 weeks off. Any job you have like in the Boston area.
dang,
But New York hospitals, they'll give you 6 weeks off.
wow. So, is the other plane that you have currently still operational?
No, so the plane that I have is that one. That's the current plane.
Okay.
So it's in Minnesota right now. The engine is actually down the block from me at a buddy's place. He's airframe power plant mechanic, and
Oh,
it's going
wow.
to get rebuilt by him. The So actually, in being that I'm remote, it's in a heated hangar in Minnesota, so I might just go there. Sell the house when I pay off all whatever debt I have hanging over my head. I might just stuff a duffel bag worth of cash in my car and go to Minnesota and fix my airplane.
That would be really cool. And, I'll just say, despite your history, with successful crashes, I'll call them successful crashes, um, I would be down to fly with you any day.
Cool.
I like rolling
Well,
the dice, you know?
we'll do it. So one of my plans is to either like do a weekend and see how many gun guys I can visit in my plane and shoot with.
Mm,
That's what I want to do.
nice. Yeah, that I always wondered about that, right? Like, the amount of shite that you have to do to, bring firearms on the planes, which I do. Is that
Not when it's your own.
okay? So that's what I was thinking. Like,
Full size shaving cream, everything.
yeah, right. That's you know the first thing. Like those little things that are just so annoying. Like no TSA line, no
Oh, all
BS.
right. So
Do you
let me
still
hit
go
on
through
that. In
security? Do you?
Good questions. I'll answer that. I just want to
Yeah.
answer Space Texan. So I'm an islip. I don't know if I'm giving all the family secrets away, but my family's been in this town for over 100 years. And so that's where the family homes are that I'm going to be selling one of. And it's a 0320. IO is a fuel injected 360, so I have an 0320 in the plane. Um, the IO 360 makes a little bit more horsepower, actually 200 horsepower. The 0320 that I have there's a 150 horsepower version and a 160 horsepower version. And the version I have that's 150 horse, you could actually run automotive gasoline without alcohol. But I don't like doing that. I've never done it. Let me just put it that way.
But you can
And
if you absolutely had to.
yeah, but the leaning characteristics on the engine are different, and because uh, what we run in the plane is 100 octane low lead, so you don't want to be running automotive gas
Yeah.
in a stinking plane because the burn rates and characteristics. So, which I'll get into engine physics in a little bit. What plane? It's Pakistan. Any plane. It just depends on how many times you have to refuel. Guy in Israel built a plane like this. I think he built a Cozy 4, and he flew it to Oshkosh. So last week in July in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, is the world's largest gathering of aircraft every year.
And I'm sorry,
And
where's Oshkosh?
Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin. Okay.
You don't see, like, that's the
I know they're
holy
like
mecca.
overalls. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's the holy mecca of aviation every year. All right, so going back, so here's the coolest thing when you have your own damn plane.
Yeah.
First off, it's almost never cheaper to fly your own plane. That's like rule number one.
Yep.
And even though, so my plane is crazy efficient, so I'll fly almost 200 miles an hour at like 30 miles to a gallon.
Wow.
Even though my plane is like stupid efficient.
Yeah.
So like a round trip for me, if I pay about $4 a gallon for gasoline, F gas in the plane, from New York to Palm Beach, like if I went from the Northern Command to the Southern Command, or also known as FRAS, the Flying Rich Autonomous Zone, um, which is a Second Amendment sanctuary.
Of course.
So, inspired by Chaz, in Seattle, because they were the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone.
Oh God.
It's
How
it's like
far
a
we've
7.
come in 1 year.
Boy, I could go on for about an hour on that one. So New York to Florida and back would be about a $700 round trip. So solo, that kind of sucks because I can fly Southwest. But if it's Thanksgiving weekend and I fill every seat in the plane, where it would have been $760 per person, where we'd be over, $2,200.
Yeah.
I'm down to, $760, the cost of one flight to fly 3 people. So now here's where it gets good. Flying gets better because I can go from the exact airport I want to the next exact airport I want to. Also, anytime I want to. I don't have to, my daughter drove up with me and she had to get back to Florida. So I could send her back Saturday morning for 360 one way, Sunday afternoon for 660, or Monday for 250, and she wouldn't be on time for work at her job. So we got up at 4 a.m. and I got her on a 6 a.m. flight.
Yeah.
All right. So now here's the cool thing. You have your plane in a hangar. It's better to keep a plane in a hangar. Plus, you have a place to work on the plane. You don't want to be a ramp rat where you're, wrenching on the plane on the ramp. I've done that. That's a pain.
Oh wow. And you said you share a hangar?
Yeah,
with,
when I had a hangar in New York here, I shared it with another guy, and he had a similar plane. He had the 4-seat version, and
nice.
we would park the two. Sometimes you park them like nose under tail, and you call that the mating position because
Okay.
the nose will tuck in underneath. And we did kind of a modified mating position where his nose would be under my wing.
Gotcha.
So that's what we did. The cool thing is, like, I was in Monroe, Louisiana, and somebody had a hangar. They were going to like tear down and build a bigger hangar, and so they were renting it out to me super cheap.
Oh,
So I
nice.
had like, a hangar you could put a jet in, and it was just my plane.
That's cool.
So I would pull up there.
Keep talking. I'm just grabbing something right here.
Yeah, I'd pull up, and there'd be a gate, and I'd key card through the gate, open the hangar door, pull my truck in next to the airplane, take all my crap from the truck, put it in the plane, push the plane out, close the door, and boom, I'm done. So the only issue about security is that post 9/11, if you want to have ramp access with your vehicle, they want you to, just get a card and an ID. So if you're going to be on the ramp at different airports, it might be 40 or $50 to get the ID.
Gotcha. That's not that bad.
So, but yeah, if you're a CCW and you're flying from airport to airport where it's legal to carry, that's all on you.
Nice, man. That's what I was always thinking. Like, you could just throw guns in a Pelican case and just whoop, throw them right in and go.
But I fly commercial with guns all the time. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, you just got to declare them. I have had a couple incidents where, depending on where you're going, if it's not as common, they may not be as comfortable with it.
I've been going between Florida and Texas. I used to, when I was bouncing back and forth between New York and Florida, I'd bring my Mini 14 with me just to piss them off because
yeah,
you get Southwest, you get 2 checked bags, and realistically, I was just going with a backpack and my Mini 14.
Hell yeah.
And I figured that was with the ATI stock that folded telescoped in the whole shooting match. That was before the New York Safe Act.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, like
okay.
I go I used to go to Texas like 4 times a year, and sometimes other places too. And I would bring a little Pelican case that I have my little carry guns, like my little pocket carry 380s and stuff, just because I'd be wearing a suit. But I would also bring another Pelican case with my Scorpion in it, because why not? I need a hotel protection,
So the flight sim that a lot of us use is X-Plane. So it's xplane.org, I believe. Let me just check.
Nice.
And I would do that. So there's cool things about that. There's actually like ATC people that will actually get on and work with you. So you can do a whole, flight planning and, talk to tower just like you were flying an actual plane.
And I'm sorry, what's ATC? Oh, air traffic control.
Air traffic control, yeah.
Just an anarchist, thank you. He said he likes my shirt. A lot of people may not know what that is. That's David Dorn, a life that was tragically taken during a riot for a TV over nothing. Got to represent. And I had a couple other questions. So on my last stream, I was talking about how I met a pilot. He was a helicopter pilot, and he was like a super, high-speed military guy. And I see his gear, and he had a helmet with his whole setup on it.
With the
and he had the little block for nods. And I was like, jokingly saying like, "Oh, do you fly with nods?" And he's like, "Yeah, all the time." I was like, "Holy shit, really?" So apparently that's a thing. And funny enough, Texas Bullet just asked, "Do you fly at night with nods? Yes or no?"
So I don't have nods, first off, and you know what? I'll fly at night. I try to limit that because if you ever have an engine out emergency, it's tougher to find a good landing zone.
Yeah. What are the lights like? Like, I guess it's not like headlights, right? Like, if you were needing to find an area to make an emergency landing, you're not catching that much light from your.
No, all right. So here's an interesting. So if you roll back like 50 years in aviation, civilian airplanes would actually have flare tubes. So in the tail of the plane, they would have a couple of flares. They would launch, so it would illuminate the area so they could land. But yeah, you have a landing light. My plane.
This is the 37 Mike from World War II. That's a live round in it, but it's this is the flare. I put something else in it, but the lugs here apparently they would literally lock it in. There was some hole they could literally shoot out of. Um, I don't know. I found that pretty interesting, but yeah, they would shoot this out of their plane. Funny you brought that up.
So flying at night. The interesting thing, actually, a buddy of mine, he's a super smart guy. He's building a plane, and a landing light is like super focused as opposed to and designed to project the beam pretty far down. So where you're landing on a runway at night, and one of the things we practiced was landing without runway lights and no lights on the plane.
Mm,
So just kind of different situations.
dang. Yeah, that's crazy to me. I mean, I couldn't even imagine landing that Cessna that I flew during the day, right? Like landing
Oh, I
is a little more difficult from what I hear from compared to taking off.
Oh yeah, well takeoff you just pull back on the yoke and go full throttle and boom, you get a get to airspeed and it'll lift off. You don't have to know anything to do that.
Yeah.
I swear there's probably still dents in the runway at Bridgeport from me learning how to land. And I finally see one of the problems I had. I was always looking out the window. I'd look out the window down at the runway, and I guess my depth perception was never that good. And finally, I started looking at the end of the runway, and when it looked like I was driving a car down the road, that's when you flare because you're, just about to land, just about to touch down.
Okay, interesting.
So the joke is, my friend that's a 777 pilot, he flares 50 feet too high. But
Airplane joke, I guess.
yeah,
Oh, hold on. Bacon asks, hold on. What does Rich think about twin engine versus single engine, leaning toward the former for a potential fixed wing, particularly for a possible engine failure?
okay. So that's a whole ball of wax. There's a couple of problems in twin engine airplanes. Of course, the joke with twin engine aircraft is the second engine is to get you to the scene of the accident quicker. The Ideally, a twin engine airplane would have counter rotating engines, and the propellers would rotate towards the fuselage. Because what you have to realize is, like if you're in a Cessna, the prop is rotating clockwise in the downward sweep of the blade because you have a little bit of a positive nose up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The downward sweep of the blade has actually more thrust. So the center of thrust is to the right. And especially when you're climbing, you're going to have to give right rudder so you don't turn left. So the worst situation is most twin engine airplanes, both engines rotate to the right. So the left engine has the center of thrust closer to the fuselage, and the right engine has it closer to the wingtip. So the worst engine to lose in a twin is your left engine.
Okay.
But your right engine, if you lose that, it's easier to control the plane because the thrust is more towards the center of the airplane with your
Gotcha.
left engine running only.
Interesting. Wow. That was yeah, I didn't think we'd go this deeply into it. This is kind of cool stuff. This is unique for our channel. But okay, so one question I didn't get to ask too, and guys, if you want to continue talking about aircraft, like this is also really interesting to me. But one thing I didn't ask is your involvement with GOA. I never asked. Are you work with them? You no? Okay.
No, just a fan proponent. Hey, all right, so we kind of jumped around a little bit.
Yeah.
So I got my carry permit. Oh wait, yeah, I did the class in Minnesota, and then the guy's like, "Hey, you're gonna get your permit." Now the cool thing about getting your permit, we were in Hennepin County where all the shit's going down, a
Hmm.
year ago, And if you're a resident in Hennepin County, you got to go to the Hennepin County Sheriff, and he's a dick, and he's going to wait till the last day because like if it's 30 days, they have to give you a yay or nay. On
Yep.
the 30th day, he's going to stamp it yes if you're authorized. Whereas I could drive 30 minutes away to another sheriff. I could go any county in the state because I wasn't a resident
Yep.
and get a permit. So I went to the best sheriff there was. And like 2 weeks later, I had the permit at my house in Florida, even though I was still in Minnesota.
Nice.
And then I flew back to Florida and bought a travel safe and a gun, and brought that back to Minnesota, and that was my carry piece.
Was that your first gun?
Yeah, that was my first gun. I got a Ruger LC9, which is one of the worst guns in the world, but it
Well,
looked cool.
not the worst. I have an LCP, which I
Well, if
think,
you have the original LCP, not the LCP2 or the
yep,
LC9S,
yep, I got the
those are
original.
actually. Yeah, I still have a purple LCP2. I mean LCP that I got my wife,
Yeah,
which
I'm
I
all
probably ought
about
to
that.
sell.
If you ever want to sell the purple one, let me know because I am all about guns with funky colors. Um, I uh, I say it all the time, but LCP stands for Little Crappy Pistol,
Oh yeah.
and it's the first time I shot. So this was prior to the state of Virginia becoming completely tyrannical and removing private transactions from being legal. And and I'll just say this, Virginia, most people are not complying. So like, get a grip. Come on. Anyway, um, my buddy got the LCP, never fired it, and sold it to me for $200 hairs. And I didn't take it to a range. I literally didn't do anything. I just put it in the safe, whoop, and just set it there. My brother was trying to get, an idea for pocket pistols. So I was like, here, take this Keltec, take this Glock 42, take this J frame, oh, that's right, I have this. Take this Ruger little crappy pistol. Funny enough, as soon as he shoots the 42, I like it. Shoots the P3AT, the Keltec, which is great for all you Keltec haters. It's remarkable. I have thousands of rounds through it with not one failure. Uh,
Well, you know what copied what?
yeah, the Ruger copied the Keltec P3AT. That was the OG. Just saying. Um, and what happens on the first magazine ever through this firearm from the factory? The um, extractor, spring, pin, and the set screw, everything, boing, flew out of it.
Really? I've never had an issue like that.
Well, and my brother was at the time a new shooter, so he didn't know. He was just like, "Man, this thing doesn't work. It's junk." The first mag I put through it ran fine, but the last couple wouldn't eject. I had to cycle it like a bolt action and try to put another mag
Oh
through it. It just
geez.
didn't work.
I don't remember if it was my Ruger SR45 or my Ruger SR9. The front sight, like I could move with my finger. The dovetail wasn't tight. I just threw some Loctite in there, and that tightened it up.
Yep. Yeah, as long as like Space Texan said, I have a Keltec Sub 2000. It's cool enough. Sub 2000 is like
Oh,
as a youngster, I had a few and I loved them and I always sold them. I don't know why. I guess I could always make more money off of them. And when I was a kid, like you get money, you buy something, and then later on, you're like, shit, I don't have money. I was less fiscally responsible at that point. Now I freaking hate money, but that's another conversation. Um,
so my I didn't get my Christmas present this past year, but a year ago Christmas, my present to me was the Keltec RFB.
nice.
They had a sale on that, and I'm like, whoop, I'm getting it.
So I turned one of those down, and I regret it to this day. A buddy offered $1,000 for me to buy it for $1,000, and I didn't get it. and it had a loophole. Um, yeah,
With a
oh,
scope?
with the scope, with like 5 mags, with I mean, and this was back in the day though when I think new they were like 14.99 or
Oh,
something
I
like
think
that.
there were more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, that well, so we would get dealer price,
Oh, okay.
um, dealer price plus 12%. So it was probably I don't remember exactly what they were, but yeah, I should have jumped on it. I also should have bought that Ruger AC 556, which is basically the Mini 14, but full auto, 12.5 inch barrel, side folding, stainless stock, like the most beautiful gun ever. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
four position selector switch, safe, semi, 3 round burst, full auto.
Cool.
And it was like 12,500, but didn't get
Well,
it. Another thing I regret. But anyway, okay, so you got your LC9 and your lockbox, and then you were off to the races.
yep, and that's how I started carrying in. I guess, I kind of fanboyed Hank Strange and finally met him. And like the first time I met, he's like, "Hey, why don't you come back? We're shooting video, and why don't you shoot on the range with me?" So, went back, and
Hold on, you got to go to the hacienda?
I got to the first time I
What?
met Hank, went to the hacienda.
No shit, dude, that's awesome.
So Hank lives about 3.5 hours away from me, so it's not like
Yeah,
we're coming over for dinner or anything like that for the most part.
yeah,
But my daughter goes to school in Gainesville, Florida, so it's kind of like if I'm going by or something like that, I might meet up with Hank.
yeah, yeah. It's funny. Light, the other participant on this channel, um, is not too far from you guys. So if you ever
Well,
want
isn't
to,
he like in the Orlando area? Where did he say this was? Not.
he's like in. So I know the exact city where he lives, but I don't want to throw that out there. I'm
That's all right.
trying to think of what it's close to. So
I
it's
know it's kind of in between.
in between like southern central Florida.
Because
Um,
I actually grow dragon fruit. I don't know if because he was offering plants and stuff like that.
you grow dragon fruit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, he has cranberry hibiscus. That's like his. That was actually here. I'll throw it up here. For the longest time, that was our little symbol up there.
Hmm.
See, and they're edible flowers, edible plants, super rich and high in vitamin C, and they don't look. I mean, they just look like flowers. But
Hmm. Hmm.
that's cranberry hibiscus. He also grows a lot of other stuff too, like um, yeah. So that's cool. You grow anything else?
Well, yeah, I do have banana plants and a macadamia tree, which still got a couple of years to go to be mature.
Nice. That's awesome.
And I got like a lemon tree, but it's funny nobody wants to eat the lemons. It's
Yeah,
my wife and daughter. They'll both go out of their way to buy organic food. I'm like, hey, we got this organic lemons. Oh no, it's growing in our backyard. I don't want it.
dude. But those lemons can be used for so much shit. I mean, you could even literally use the skin of the lemons to fertilize your soil. Apparently, worms
Hmm.
like those a lot.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Actually, didn't know that because my neighbor, they're retired and they enjoy cocktails, so they'll go by and pick the lemons from my lemon tree.
Nice. Yeah, I think the next venture for me is going to be hazelnut. I like because it can be used for a lot of different stuff. Basically, make a massive surplus of Nutella. um, I like shit that's and this is kind of a new venture for me over the last year, just under a year, but shit that grows in bushes that is high in nutrients, like raspberries, strawberries, um, all that shit. And then, of course, we have a vegetable garden, and I think the next thing will be hazelnuts, just because that's you can use
Yeah,
that
we
for.
used to have on the property here, raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, actually grapes also in Islip here.
Okay, so that's funny. I was literally thinking of, because out in Virginia, a lot, I mean, there are so many wineries. Like they're all over the place. And I was like, okay, the VA red clay has to be a good spot for wineries.
I think it's bullshit. There's wineries everywhere. I think it's just the Gucci thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go out to the Hampton wineries. And,
It's probably the same damn soil as like, the garbage garden in New York City.
yeah, yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I think Ocasio-Cortez has a winery.
oh God.
I'm
Don't
making
get
that
me
up.
started on her.
She's like, oh my God, it's growing in soil. It's like magic.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
She probably does, honestly. I mean,
Yeah, she posted on her IG. She has like this 1 foot by 1 foot garden, community garden. She's
oh,
like, oh my gosh, it's like magic. It's growing out of dirt.
yeah, no shit. I mean, the way the world was supposed to be? Yeah.
and
Man.
and she graduated magna cum laude from Boston College. I mean,
Yeah, I wonder how many.
what?
Never mind. Never mind.
Huh?
I'll stop. Yeah. You should have heard what we were saying about Chipman on our little DLD shorts clip. Oh my God. What I was about to say about her, I've said worse about Chipman.
Well, it kind of makes me wonder. Let's talk about strategic planning.
Yeah.
Um, Joe Biden is kind of the miracle candidate, and for a dozen reasons. Uh, but wait, who would be a good number two? And let's just say, hey, we're all Democrats. We all love Democrats. We love being a Democrat. We love the Democratic Party, and we watch the Democratic primary. And my favorite Democrat would have been fill in the blank. Think like a Democrat.
Oh man, I've gone through so much
You'll have to bathe afterwards, but it's worth the thought
reprogramming.
exercise.
I think the left and right thing is just such a like a just total purposeful bifurcation of our country. But
Well,
I
all right,
can't.
just pretend you're either a Democrat or Republican team player, and this time it's a Democrat.
I mean, I genuinely could not see any of them as an Feinstein. Kimball said Feinstein.
Di-fi?
Elizabeth
But, all right, so
Warren.
let's just say who was a popular, like somebody that
I mean,
fared
Bernie was
well.
popular for a
Bernie,
while. Yeah,
Elizabeth Warren,
yeah.
the math dude.
I
Uh,
just threw up a little bit in my mouth. What's Yeah, Elizabeth Warren. She just wanted to grab a cold beer. Oh God.
with my husband, let me pinch his ass on
Yeah.
FaceTime or whatever, Instagram Live.
God, that was so
I'm just
cringe.
here doing an IG live and I'm going to get me a beer. It's like, Elizabeth Warren has never spoken like that. I don't even speak like that.
Yeah.
Bullshit on you. Don't tell me. All right, so there's a couple of fake incidents. So let's just pretend we all know who I am, and if you saw me at the range, that'd be a very normal event. If you saw me on YouTube talking about the Second Amendment, that'd be a very normal event.
Hmm.
If you saw me like at like the Cars and Coffee in Hollywood, Florida, doing video of that, that'd be a very normal event. Or
Hmm.
if you saw me hanging out at an airport or wrenching, those are very typical
In the
normal
hangar,
events for me.
turning
Right.
wrenches in the hangar, right?
Yep. Yep. So, you're telling me, Elizabeth Warren gonna get me a beer?
Yeah. I'm
Uh,
gonna get me a
it's like,
beer.
hey, let me do the fakest Instagram live ever.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna make sure I get me a beer out of my beer fridge.
Totally
I don't look
inoffensive.
wooden, do I?
Yeah.
But you got to remember, right after Hillary lost the election, she was seen hiking in the woods behind her house. And somebody actually got a picture of her and Bill hiking. You're telling me Hillary effing Clinton's hiking in the woods in Chappaquiddick? I mean, wait, what is it? It's not Chappaquiddick. It's
I don't know, but I couldn't see her
whatever in New
hiking to the
York.
mailbox.
Right. You know, with those cankles.
Yeah,
Eh, And then like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, she was seen at Walmart. I'm like, look, when she was on the board of directors at Walmart, she was never at a Walmart.
yeah,
Don't effing tell me. It's like, but somehow nobody has ever seen her again at a Walmart or hiking in the woods behind her house.
of course.
But
That was a
within
play.
2 weeks of losing the election, she was happily hiking through the woods.
Yeah, it's all show. They need to be able to paint their
Chappaqua.
mainstream media, pictures. So these, you know, normies that are allowing others to think for them can get those quick little snippets and those headlines and then run with it, and that's what they make decisions based off of, which is
Yes.
crazy. And a lot of the
And
people in alt
and
media do the
I'll
same thing.
I'll
Same.
barbecue Ted Cruz on that one. So Ted Cruz is like he shoots a machine gun with bacon around the silencer. He's like, machine gun bacon. It's like, yeah, Ted, you run a machine gun all the time. Don't. And look, if have I shot a fair share of machine guns? Yes, and actually most of the time for free because I'm going to like the Iraq veteran shoot or something like that, or
Yeah,
or I'm hanging out with Walter Keller from Safety Harbor Firearms and shooting a Sten gun or something like that. That's full
yeah,
auto. Uh, I've gone to a fair number of events where just in the community, there's people and they got something full auto. They're like, "Hey, shoot it!"
yeah.
Now, if I could, I sincerely pull off shooting a machine gun with a silencer on it and cooking bacon, maybe.
I think you could do it. You could pull it off.
But
Matter of fact, that could be your 5,000 sub instead of the AK under the pool. Well, you still got
right,
to do the AK.
I got to do the AK in the pool.
Yeah. I
So,
will say though, it's just as cool. I was curious, like, what is the best performance in, like pistol caliber, jacketed hollow point expansion. So my buddy had a pool, a couple, you know, not too far away, and I took my Glock out there and I just started emptying rounds, submerging it underwater, and just dumping rounds. And when the jacketed hollow point hits that water, it expands just like it's hitting a liquid medium like flesh. And man, I tested traditional hydroshocks, BPLEs, spear gold tots, yeah, spear tots, spear gold dots, the HST. Every single time the HST was just like bam, a freaking lead flower. It was just
hmm.
perfect, like the most consistent expansion. And then I also ended up with a whole bunch of other stuff here, like rounds that never expanded, rounds
Oh
that
wow.
these I don't have any of the HSTs. I gave them away over time. Um, spear gold dots will not open unless it's here I am, Dirk. What's up, masses? Um, yeah, and guys, ignore any of the freaking trolls that come in here trying to, you know, talk smack. We ain't got time
We're
for
getting
that.
trolled?
Oh,
Dude, all right.
the trolls have come and gone already. I don't even want to pay them no mind. You know, because honestly, man, it like it's so subversive and it causes so much friction. So I reached out to a very, very popular YouTuber, and he ends up telling me, like, dude, not only do I know about your show, I literally put on my like Bluetooth headphones and just like get on my zero turn for 2-3 hours and listen to your entire
Oh,
stream.
cool.
Like, oh my God, dude. And he said, but I'm not going to get on right now. I will come on as a guest, but not now because of all the drama.
Huh.
Like, damn, man. Like that, it was just like a really, like, it was just some, self reflection and realization that, like, we just need to stop the drama, man. Like, most of us have the same damn goals. Like,
hmm
come
hmm.
on. Um, This is a 40 caliber round that I found lodged in the street in my last, the city that I lived in last in Virginia.
Hmm.
Um, this is what an AK round looks like when it hits um, soft armor and then wood behind it. It's actually like totally clamped. Like, I mean, it just
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
flattened
cool.
it. Um, and then like just a bunch of like weird like 22 rounds that just splat on a steel target. And um, this was a 25 ACP round that hit a stack of books. And I don't know. I mean, dude, I'll tell you right now, people that say that, thank you, Bob. People that say 25 ACP doesn't have any penetration, bro, yeah, do some tests. I think you'll find something different. Screw it, I'll tell you. So, somebody told me that a 25 ACP wouldn't even go through a leather jacket, okay? Um, and swore up and down, right?
Where do people come off on this stuff?
I mean, they got to just make it up, or somebody says something, and then that same person that heard something from someone else tells someone else, then that person tells some, then all of a sudden it's true because the whole town has the same story, right? And I got a little Beretta 25 Tomcat Jetfire, whatever the hell they are, with the tip-up barrel,
Mm-hmm.
and dropped the 25 ACP round in there, closed it, took a shoebox. This is in my bedroom, like when I'm like a kid. Um, yeah. Sorry, mom, um, and dad, if you're watching.
You
Likely
shoot guns
not.
through the walls again? Yes,
Yeah.
Mom. Dave,
Yeah.
don't do. Oh, jeez, I did it again.
Damn it. They're gonna catch me. So took a shoebox. I put in a whole stack of magazines and hard copy books and like a phone book at the bottom, and I just crammed everything I could in there, taped it shut, and then just put it under my blanket, and then went pow. So not only did I get a burn on my comforter, my blanket like that big,
And lead
um,
poisoning. Yeah.
yeah, I know, right? It literally went through like all the magazines, every single one of them. I'm talking like a stack, like two inches and some change. It went through the first hard copy book and stopped in the second hard copy book. Like I was blown away, blown away. So yes, 25 ACP has some penetration.
Oh, that's a cute band-aid. Is that unicorns and rainbows or?
This one is unicorns. This one is raindrops. I will, before the end of the show, I will show you guys why I'm wearing, yes, even more band-aids today. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's something I did. But yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to hijack it for that long.
So Swampy was. I don't know. What was Swamp Dog asking me? Was it Florida? Yeah, he was asking me. So you ever see these commercials or whatever, like get your drone pilot's license and you too can be rich and famous and have hot sexy girls. And
Of course.
so of course I got my drone pilot license because as
Well,
a
duh.
pilot, all I have to do is take like the retard test. And it's like, oh, I got 80 on the test. And it's like, no, you got to go back and get 100. I'm like, and they give you the same question over again. I'm like, really?
Oh my God. Is it that easy?
Yeah, well, if you're a pilot, yeah, if you already have your pilot certificate,
Oh,
it's
okay.
but if you don't, it's a little harder to do, and they're a little more exhaustive. But
Gotcha.
pretty much I know all the rules. I just had to learn specific drone rules and be tested on it. It's kind of the
Yeah.
delta of the knowledge. But yeah, I've made no money on it. But Swamp Dog asked me, it's like, you got your drone license? I'm like, yeah. It's like, oh, because I know somebody that needs like drone footage of their helicopters, and I'm like, okay, cool, let's hook that up. And then he's like, yeah, and maybe go hog hunting from a helicopter. And so it's funny. I was at an EAA meeting in Palm Beach. That's Experimental Aircraft Association. I just happened to
Mhm.
like first meeting I went to shoot the breeze with this guy. he maintains the aircraft of one of the original developers of Mozilla. So the guy's got like a jet and
Like
a
Mozilla
helicopter.
Firefox?
Yeah, yeah.
No shit.
So he's like,
Wow.
"Yeah, I just got a 50 Beowulf. I was going to go hog hunting from the helicopter. You want to come?" I'm like, "Yes."
Absolutely. That's been one
And
of
then
my
he's like,
dreams for a long time.
"Oh, and sometimes we just got to put hours on the jet and we go somewhere for lunch. You're welcome to come." I'm like, "Yes." I never closed that deal.
Oh, so you didn't end up going?
No, no.
Oh man.
I, I've been in one private jet. I rode right seat in. Are you familiar with the software Asterisk?
I don't think so.
It's like PBX software. It'll run on a Raspberry Pi. So Mark Spencer wrote that software, and he has an Eclipse jet. So I went to Oshkosh with him in his Eclipse jet.
Damn. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun.
All right, so I'm not proud of this, but I am going to show what happened today. Are you familiar? Are you familiar with
With a
what a
nail
quick?
gun?
Oh no, that would be much more simple to explain. Um, are you familiar with what a quick match is?
Okay, yeah.
Quick match is it's something they do to light. I mean, nowadays they don't really do it, but they used to use it to light a whole row of fireworks. They'd have like a wooden rider that would just be like a little slot, and then they would take like a long piece of like tape and then pour a line of gunpowder or flash powder or something on it, fold it up, and then they would literally put it in, light the back, and it like a rocket, right? My daughter loves them. Okay. Not saying that anyone should be doing anything like this at all. As a matter of fact,
This is for educational purposes only.
exactly, and consult with your physician, your priest, and your uh, penile doctor. I don't know, and your podiatrist. So anyway, I put one together today, and I put like a little surprise on the end of it. Okay, because it's like a rocket, right? So why not put a head on the rocket? And it's a quick match, but when it goes, it lights a fuse. So wherever it ends up safely, far away from us, boom, at the end, right? Just like a firework. So I make one this morning, and I'm like, "Hey, honey, let's go. Let's go outside. Like, don't tell mom. Like, let's just go." She's like, "Okay, mommy, we're going to light a firework." I was like, "Oh," shit. And then she's like, "Don't do it right now." She takes it, puts it on top of the fridge for a little bit. Okay, that was the biggest problem. Um, Later on, we come back, we grab it, we take it out. I didn't realize that she wasn't handling it as delicately as I was. Okay, and because to her it's just a firework, and it's like, okay, I'm putting it down here. She pinched it, and when you pinch it, that basically creates a small pocket of propellant, and it stops the and it right. So I'm sitting here where I'm like, okay, to do the quick match so it doesn't zip around and go fly in my daughter's face, I'm going to hold it in a bottle and then let it, like, I'll aim it and let it shoot out that way, okay? And I've made hundreds and hundreds of fireworks, never been burned, never been hurt, never nothing at all, okay? So I go out there and I put it in a bottle, which of course was a bad idea, added pressure and all that. So it goes and it's not moving, and I'm like, "Uh-oh, boo!" In my hand, even right now, they're still throbbing. Melted plastic just gets laid all over both the inside of these fingers, which they're not that bad. I mean, it was bad, but under here are like white like bubbles, and
So
it's
gloves and
disgusting.
glasses are now a requirement for doing that.
Nah, I didn't say all that. That'd be boring. But I have to show a picture because it just wouldn't be the same.
Are
So
we going to get demonetized now?
no. So this is me being me. Hold on. Let me just to make sure there's no like sensitive information in the background.
We could read the license plate of your car, the tail number of your helicopter.
Exactly. They know I have a helicopter now.
No.
And the license plate is Dave 1 and then my car is Dave 2.
It's Delta Alpha Victor Edward. Echo. Sorry,
Yes.
Echo.
All right. Boom. Okay, no. Window. Here we are. Okay, so this will be more of a clear picture. So this, you see, is my hand, arm. You'll see the tattoo and the bracelet. And bracelet's a long story. It's important to me. I won't talk about it. Sorry, guys.
And the same T-shirt.
Yeah, literally same T-shirt, right? And I'm just holding the bottle because, hey, it's time to light off a quick match. And I light off a quick match. You can see in the bottom, the two pictures aren't too different. It was hard to isolate the detonation in my hand. But, man, yeah, I saw the Ted Pill just uploaded a video. I'm going to check it out. Yeah, so that was a bad idea. Because it was pinched, it didn't have the ability to flow the energy out of it. Flowing the energy out of it is what sends it, and it was stuck in the bottle, and the pocket just popped, and then it was right in my hand for when the big boom. When it was just bad altogether. So, and yes, I was correct. Laser guided missile. Yeah, basically laser guided missile. Yeah, so that was my morning, and I am still recovering from it. So, I mean, look at the like explosion right there
That's
in my.
yep.
That's crazy. I mean, probably not a good idea in light of today's events. Did you Kentucky ballistics yourself?
Uh-oh.
No, it wasn't that bad. I didn't have to put a thumb in it, but my
Slap around
thumb
firecracker. That's a good one.
slap round firecracker. That's really good, actually. That should be a T-shirt.
So I was
DLD
hoping to
after
meet
dark.
Kentucky Ballistics at the Iraq Veterans Shoot, but he didn't go.
Yeah,
And actually, Brandon Herrera was in the neighborhood, but he didn't go either.
really.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Hey, same bracelet as Ashley Babbitt. Ashley Babbitt's shooter. Where was dark January 6th? That's messed up.
So
Oh, the end is near. Beware says, so you blame your mistake on your daughter. Way to go. No, it was my wife. It was my wife.
So, Dave, how come you didn't go to Iraq Veteran with John?
So I was going to. However, when he invited me, it was too late to like add me in. You know,
Oh
if
yeah.
it would been like 2 weeks prior, because him and I like we've known each other and known of each other for a long time, but we didn't start like getting like really close until like I'd say the
Dude,
past
I could have tagged you in, man.
dude. I love getting tagged in. Yeah, no, I would have loved to have come. I definitely would have really felt like a YouTuber.
So
From
I'll tell you what happened is, Brandy's like, hey, the cutoff date is blah 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 coming up, and then like shortly before the event, she's like, if you guys know anybody else that wants to come, I was like, what?
Yeah, dude, I wouldn't even know what to do with myself if I like. I mean, do you even bring guns? Like,
Well, I got there Friday and I helped set up. And once we got everything set up, Eric was like, "Hey, if you guys got them, shoot them." So,
yeah,
but for the most part, no, just because you're going to be shooting other people's guns and other people's ammo.
yeah,
Remind me to tell you a story. Well, there's a couple of stories.
Go
But
ahead. The floor is yours,
no,
my
no,
friend.
I don't want to tell this one public.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
There's public stories, then there's a story I don't want to tell publicly.
Mm-hmm.
But oh, and you know what? We talked. I don't know if it was me and Crump were on with you or something. We were talking about negligent discharges.
Yes. Yep.
Days later, I almost had an ND.
What? Oh, with the mantis thing?
Yes.
Okay, so talk about that. What happened?
So
People
I'm at the
may
range,
not.
and I 3D printed a base plate for my SIG P365 for the Mantis to go on the bottom of the mag.
Okay. People
And
may not know what the mantis is, by the way. You may want to.
okay, good point. So the Mantis, it's like not much bigger than a sugar cube, and it's got a pick rail mount. So ideally, you're mounting it under the barrel, like where a weapon light would go, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the Because the design of the pick rail on the P365, it's not a standard rail.
Yeah.
I had the base plate, like downloaded it from Thingiverse, downloaded a section of pick rail, and just put it on there. And I was showing somebody, and I didn't realize I didn't clear the frickin' gun.
Oh.
And I racked the slide, and a round came out. I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Oh man, that's
So
terrifying.
I was going to show somebody how the Mantis system worked, and I racked the slide in, and I'm like, oh fuck,
Man. So I had a similar experience when I worked at in the firearms industry. I was doing sales behind the counter, right? I mean, we worked with all the distributors and all that shit, right? But I was behind the counter, and we were all armed, right? Always, but we'd also all bring our long gun to work. That's just what we did, right? It was like we had a work gun, and I don't know why, just to show off our stuff, just to have a reason to carry a long gun. Anytime I got pulled over and they were like, "Why do you have a rifle?" I'm like, "I work at a gun shop." They're like, "Oh, okay." I don't know. It just made sense. And plus, I always have a rifle for other reasons. But um, get in, set my stuff down, my bag down, set my rifle down, and I grab. I think at the time it was an FNSLP, and I was just kind of getting the feel of it, feeling like how it points and all that. And we had this wall of snap caps and inert cartridges, everything 50 BMG. I think we even had like 20 mil and a bunch of like the plastic ones, a bunch of like the brass ones, and I grabbed one of the 12 gauge rounds and I was just practicing like breech loading it, closing it, and pointing it. And then I do it again. I charge it, I breech load it, close it, point, and I just did that like 10 times. And um, I hear my manager, who's a friend of mine, yell at me, and I charge it, and I'm like, "What, dude? It's a snap cap." And I pull it up. He said, "No, that is a full brass 12 gauge buckshot." I was literally no, I was still following all the
Right.
safety rules, right? Because that's our job. But I was aiming it at the TV. Like if I were to send 9 pellets into our TV, like oh my god, man, like you never know. So you just always got to be careful.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm like because I've had an ND with a 62 grain green tip. Um, Very bad day. Everyone was okay, but still very bad day. Um,
You
I've had
spackled up
two.
the holes.
Yeah, I've had two. We don't need to go into detail, but I've had two. Um, and yeah, now
Any ND you can walk away from is a good one.
oh yeah, yeah. I've had the best kind of NDs. We're gonna start something called NDA. Um, it's negligent discharge anonymous, where we all come in and get to share our stories.
Well, that's like an aviation landing with the gear up. Everybody's done one.
I mean, maybe not everybody, but
I had a guy tell me I was an idiot. I had a gear up landing, and he's like, you got to be a real idiot. Do that. 2 weeks later, he had a gear up landing himself.
really,
Yeah.
I mean, how common is it? You had an ND in your sleep? Okay, I need to hear more about that.
You had a wet dream, is what he said.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you like joking that you blew your load while you were sleeping, or do you sleep with a 1911 off safety under your pillow? Oh, did you see the guy? I pissed my friend's couch. Oh, that's the worst. Um, did you see that guy who got hot brass down the back of his shirt?
Oh, he shot
And
himself in the face.
oh my god, through and through. Like
Did he knock out teeth? Because
I would imagine so. I mean, even just that concussion. Oh man, that's some serious shit right there.
all right, so of course, you see girls at the range like this with melons, and it's like, oh my, you
Yeah.
know. I wore a polo shirt and I was shooting pistol, so it ejects, it hits the partition, and then and so it hit.
Stuck between the collar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, it can't be that hot for that long. And then it rolled down. It looked like I came back from the range with a hickey.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with the range being next to a strip club. It had nothing to do.
Now I don't know if I believe you. Dude, we've all been burned by brass, right? Like that's, but you like know that it's a possibility. You know that like something could happen. Any catastrophic failure could happen
Ooh.
at any time.
Yeah, last thing you want to do is like, brass is
Yeah.
burning me.
I mean, he held it up like a cell phone at first, and then he just went like this, and oh man, it was terrible. But like,
The booger hook off the trigger.
yeah, booger hook off the bang switch. That's all. Like, that's the rule, right? Take it off, switch hands, cover, like do something, or just set
Yeah,
it down,
yeah.
right? Make it clear, make it safe, do something, and that's what I'm working on my on with my daughter. Like, she was really interested in firearms, and she would see me like making guns, and I had 4 P80s on my workbench. This is at my old place, but she was 2 at the time, and I had one of them with a complete lower parts kit in them. The other 3 were what's up, checkpoint? Yeah, take the burn till it's safe. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, the other 3 were completely bare, and one had a parts kit in the lower. No complete guns though. So she walks up, and she's kind of like exploring, and she reaches her hand up on the grip, and then like finesses her way up, puts her finger on the trigger, which is just held up by like this is not a gun. It is only a component of just the lower.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just being held up by the little polymer safety, and she
Wow.
2 years
Wow.
old.
Yep.
So it made me realize that like it is instinctual for people
Yes.
that don't understand firearms to just squeeze the trigger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So instead of me saying like, okay, guns are dangerous, guns, just like when we squish bugs, like that kind of, I'm trying to explain death to a 4-year-old. Like, how do you do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've done a pretty good job, I'd say. But now instead of just guns are bad, don't touch guns. If you see a gun, don't touch it. Get an adult, all that stuff. Now I say something similar, and I've said this before on stream. I say, if you see a gun, freeze. That means like hands up, legs out, like freeze, don't move, don't let anyone else touch it. Get an adult right away. Like don't leave, right? Like don't let anyone touch it. But if you ever want to see mommy and daddy's gun or guns, we will make it safe for you and let you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
handle them. And that has really done a I think it's made a big impact on like her curiosity of like the forbidden fruit, and she knows
Yes.
that at any time she can come just see, like you said with your dad when you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So that's helped
Well,
a
my
bit.
dad did the opposite. He's
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
you
Like,
will never touch that.
yeah. So
But
it was the forbidden fruit.
I did exactly what you're saying with my daughter. It's like anytime you want to see it, I'll show it to you. You treat every gun, when all the rules as though they're loaded.
Yep.
Always point in a safe direction. The whole shooting match.
Yep.
And it's funny. My daughter's borderline hoplophobic.
What you said? What lophobic?
Hoplophobic,
What's that?
like fear of weapons.
Really?
So, I mean, she's gone shooting with me. She knows how to shoot. She knows firearm safety. But because she's seen so many TV shows and movies where guns are incredibly bad and dangerous, she
Yep.
doesn't want to be near them.
Is it only guns or is it weapons in general?
Guns, yeah. So, like, if I walk in a room with like a pistol or a rifle, she like, please get that out of my room. Please get that.
That's how my wife used to be when we first got together. And every night, so I used to sleep at her place when we were kids because we've been together forever. And I would take out my pistol and I would set it on her day planner. And every day she would wake up, she'd have to open the nightstand, move my Glock off of her day planner to the side, and then pick it up. And because she was old school then, um, and then she got comfortable, started taking her shooting and stuff like that. And,
Hmm.
you know, I had kind of made a joke. Personally, I was talking to a friend a few days ago and, said something along the lines of like, if someone came in the house, and I was like, dude, I'm not worried about that. Like, my girl can, ventilate a bad guy just as well as I can. Um, yeah. So, but that is important, man. That aspect of like I can't tell you, I wasn't as disciplined as you. I can't tell you how many times I went to look for my dad's gun and I
Ah.
found it and now there was no ammunition anywhere near it. I think like ammunition was more like scary than the unloaded firearm, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
there was one time, and then we can either cruise to another topic or even end soon. There was one time that I was at a buddy's house, and we were like really young kids, and his dad had a gun cabinet that the key was literally just sitting on top, right? So as kids, we always wanted to mess around with the shotgun just to hear the noise. And he said, "Hey, my boy's coming over. Let's scare him." And I was like, "Okay, well, what do you want to do?" He's like, "I'm just gonna reach in there and grab a gun and like point it at him."
Oh.
And I was like, I wouldn't do that, but this is a kid that you just cannot talk out of anything when he has his mind
Hmm.
set on it.
Hmm.
So, guy goes knock, 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 comes in. What does he do? He grabs a 30-06. I think it was like an old Springfield, like, what are they, the O3A3s or whatever. And he doesn't aim it like directly at him, but in his like general direction. And he wanted to intimidate him. So he racked the bolt, and what do we see? Woo, 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 woo. A huge 30-06 round just come flying out of the chamber, and we all about shit our pants. And like kids do not understand the lethality, the severity, I mean, like, how could we do a better job of stopping shit like that? I don't
So
know.
Checkpoint says my friend killed his buddy like that. That's
I
messed up.
my friend killed at 15 years old, one 9mm round to his sternum, and he
Oof.
died in front of a party of 20-25 people. And he's probably gonna get out in, was it probably just a few years now.
Oh
So now
Jesus.
he's gonna get out of jail and shit, maybe only a year. 20, I think it's 22. So in 22, he's going to get out, and his brother and family are all still alive. And like, oh man, yeah, terrible.
So when I got my first LC9, um, my wife's like, you're gonna kill me. You're gonna kill me with that. You're gonna, she just kept like flipping out about it. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna kill you with it. Just get over it. You
Yeah,
know.
just calm down.
But now my
Accept
wife has a carry permit, and when stuff goes bad in the world, she's like, "Do we have enough AR-15s? Maybe you should buy a couple more."
it. Nice. Yeah, that's good. I can't get wifey on board anymore with buying stuff because I have an entire gun room and it's extensive. So I can't involve her on purchases because there's just always going to be some level up. But don't you have that? Isn't there? But that's just a different color. You've so now I can be like, oh, I've had that for years. That's that's been in the back of the safe. That's why with like Glocks and ARs and AKs, like I could just be like, I just changed the furniture.
No.
You
Well,
know.
does anybody really know how many ARs they have?
I mean, I could count.
Well, and I say that in all seriousness because on a whim, I found enough parts to make two more ARs a week or
Yep.
two ago.
Yep. I've got a build like that. I literally grabbed some LWRC, some CMMGs, some spikes, some just takeoffs from all over the place. And I was like, all I need is a barrel. So, yeah, I mean, and now with what the ATF is looking at doing, I mean, I could pick something off of my workbench that's like this is probably an 80% receiver, you know?
A
An
handguard.
yeah, an AK handguard. Um, a high capacity 80% receiver at
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah, baby killers.
Well, also we're all terrorists if we build our own guns.
Oh yeah. Then in that case, I am the. I'm not gonna say that.
Dude, I'm a little disappointed with the algorithm and all that bit. Like we're what is it on Facebook? You may have been exposed to extreme propaganda.
Oh my god. I heard about that shit. This is all a joke.
I'm a
I
little
mean,
first off, one, I'm unhappy I didn't get that warning, and two, didn't they realize we're gonna meme the fuck out of it?
oh my god. Like that's we are gonna have thousands and thousands of like we'll probably have like you know those pictures that people take with like their puppy and their handgun or something like that. Like it's gonna be like a Chihuahua with like a Sig 938 or something. It's gonna be like you've been extreme to or you've been exposed to extreme propaganda. It's a joke, man. Like I can't even take anything seriously from them anymore. The mainstream media. They have it on YouTube as well.
Oh, do they? Did somebody just say that, or?
Yeah, someone just said that. That's the thing. It is always since the inception of our country been legal nationally for you to make your own firearm at home. It was never truly a problem because to be able to do things like that, you had to have been very skilled with machining and, over the past several years, things like polymer 80, the idea, just the concept of 80% receivers, the ghost gunner, the all shout out to our boy. Um,
Cody Wilson.
yeah, 'cause we've had him on a couple times. He's
Oh, you
just
have?
yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah.
Wow, cool.
He's been on twice. He's an incredible person.
So I've got
Um,
Crumpy's Ghost Gunner right now.
yeah, he
After
we did a
UPS dropped it 6 feet to shock test it.
oh my god.
So
That's terrible.
yeah, one of the lead screws came out, so I'm gonna put it back together. Again, I was starting that before I came to New York, so I didn't get that done either.
Yeah.
So that's a
I
project in waiting.
I went over to Crump's and I was actually able to like come in his home and that was a fun
Wait, 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 wait.
experience.
You mean you went to his house?
No, I came in his home. I'm just joking. Yeah, yeah. I
Were you
went
in
to
his
his
gun room
house.
when you did it?
Yeah, of course, right?
When you had the ND.
Yep. And we did a little exchange, a little commerce, and well,
Did it
like
include pushing a button?
um, no buttons
No.
pushed. No buttons pushed. But butt cheeks. No, but we had to put it in a box. So he gave me the item slash items in a ghost gunner box. So I walk out like feeling like, man, this is the coolest freaking thing, and it's probably the closest I'm going to get to a Ghost Gunner 3 ever. It was cool while it lasted, though. But no, I think the whole thing, like all jokes aside, the fact that it has always been legal for us Americans, sane, sober, moral, crazy,
Before America existed, yes.
yeah, but it always we have been able to, you know, just the fact
Huh?
that all of us have been endowed by our creator for the purpose of self-preservation, the purpose of whatever the fuck you want. Okay, because some people are going to say hunting, some people are going to. The purpose is for the bear's claws.
Well, you don't need 100 rounds to kill a deer.
Oh
What is he
God.
wearing? Body armor.
2AEDU. What's up, brother?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, no, it's these are these are rights that a lot of people get confused, right? They
I still can't
believe
get over
that
Joe Biden saying, "Well, the Second Amendment didn't allow anybody to have a gun, and you couldn't have cannons." It's like, oh Jesus!
they don't know. They don't know. They genuinely don't
It,
know. And you would think that they would do research on things like this,
but
but
the Second Amendment, is there invisible ink that says no cannons, or it says only white people? What did I
yeah,
miss that part?
yeah, it's ridiculous, man.
It's like, what people, Joe Biden, shouldn't have guns? Which people? Them people? Who people?
Yeah, them,
Um,
them corn
could
pop.
you imagine if Trump said that? Well, not all people could have, guns.
Oh man,
But
yeah.
it'd be like, what people is? That's a racist dog whistle.
But that's the thing. Like they'll listen to every single word of someone that they wanna fry. And then of course, somebody that
Well,
they've already given him so many passes. I mean,
well, they were
just with the shit
25th
that
Amendmenting Trump as he walked down this ramp that was slick with his patent leather shoes. Like, oh, that's a sign of Alzheimer's if you walk like that, and blah blah. Look, you had to grab that general's arm, and I
yeah.
think he, was like July 4th, 2 years ago at West Point or something like that.
Yeah, man, it's just all the game. This whole shit with just the mainstream media, their job is to brainwash, and they're doing it, and they're doing it with critical race theory.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that critical race theory is educating children on the truth of racism. That's what they're saying it is. So now people that are uneducated on that are like, well, oh my God, we need to educate our youth on the truth about racism, right?
Well,
It's
why would you be against
nauseating.
common sense gun regulations? They'd be common sense.
Yeah, it's common sense. Common sense.
But somehow, I'm assuming, Dark, if you and I wrote common sense gun regulations, we'd be writing the same stuff because
I
it'd be
would
common
do
sense to us.
I would do more with an eraser than I would with the pencil.
And that would be the common sense gun regulation. Well,
Yeah.
that's like, I'm always, the whole bayonet lug on an AR-15, making it illegal. I always worry about the bayonet deaths. That's
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's too dangerous. Like that's where I would draw the line. Bayonets are I would put it up there with a nuclear device, like enriched plutonium.
or an F-15.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna
It's just
3D print an F-15 with a pick rail mount, so I can put it on the bottom of my AR-15.
hell yeah. You should make you know what you should do?
It'll be the
You
Flying Rich F-15.
ooh, you should do a vertical grip with a an F-15 that attaches to a pick rail, and put like a nice little like flying rich on it, and sell those bitches. That's what I would do. Yeah, common sense equals no gun laws. And when
Yes.
people, say, "Oh, so everyone's just supposed to have rocket launchers?" Yes,
Fuck
yes,
yeah.
yep. Oh, but then what? So everyone's supposed to have a nuke? Sure. But what about tanks? Yep. But what
I
about
know
an
guys that have
F-15?
tanks.
Yeah, I know people that have tanks, and you know what? They've
I have a
never
friend that has a MiG.
they've never tanked anyone. You know, and this,
Killdozer, maybe, but
yeah, but
wait a second. Wait, there was that
yeah.
guy in LA that got in a tank and drove it around.
Yeah, so I mean, like, what? So, like, one situation, but all all jokes aside, um, and it gets a little dark, and I guess we can end it on this: is that um, I was watching another YouTuber, and what's up, CRS? And there was a message in there, and it really hit me, and this is the message that I'll convey to you guys, and I've said it before. And I shared it on Discord in voice chat recently. And if you're ever in a conversation about common sense gun control, and somebody hits you with that question, that is a question that is meant to pin you into being a monster, and they say, "How many more children are you willing to let die before you are willing to give up your AR-15, or before you're willing to da da da?" When they say something like that, the response, like it's so important. So I'll say, how many more children are you willing to let die before you are willing to give up your guns? And my response would be all of them, including my own. And I will fight and die for that. And I have no problem saying that on a Google freaking recorded stream. And I know it's deep. I know some may see that as extreme, but every single one, because if we don't draw that line, there will never be another free child. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And mind you, we're celebrating a holiday based on civilians beating the biggest government military in the world with rifles
yeah.
and mostly homemade.
Yeah, I was going to say that they likely made in their home. And we did a video on the Second Amendment, and anybody that hasn't seen this, it was our video with Handsome Joe. Handsome Joe is a great friend of the channel, and he had gone on a very long social media cleanse, but had just recently returned. And he talks about the history of the Second Amendment, and um, it'd be a really important watch, and it goes deep. I think it's about 2 hours, but man, I would highly advise you go back when you have the time, even if you just pop in an earbud and listen to it when you're at work. It's a really, really good listen. It goes through and discusses the standards of what each man had to carry with him. Who was the militia, the general cost of a fighting rifle, and back then, and through like every generation beyond that up to now, what the general cost of a fighting rifle should be, what you as an individual now should roughly spend on a fighting rifle. And it's really cool. So, well, I think that's all I got, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here, man. And you're welcome to plug yourself, plug your channel,
Oh, sure.
throw anything else out, and on anything you like.
Yeah, yeah. So flyingrich.com has links to my social media, youtube.com/flyingrich. And I am not Flying Rich on Instagram, but I am Flying Rich _official because some dude got Flying Rich on IG,
Oh,
and that's not me.
what a shame.
Yep.
Maybe if we all band together, we can convince him to delete his account.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, we only have 35 people in here right now, but
But
I
you
believe.
get good watch numbers.
Yeah, yeah. I think we have a really engaged. For the amount of people that we have,
Hmm.
us getting 40, 50, 60 people in here is typical. Um, I think a lot of them are federal agents, but aside from aside from that, and I'll say
Oh,
this again, like I never do anything illegal. I have no intention of ever doing anything illegal, and I would encourage all of you guys to not do anything illegal as well.
I
It's
agree
fun.
on that. All right, so I got to name the stream,
Yep,
and I have to plug one more thing.
please do.
2AEDU
Hell yeah.
uh, and other cool YouTube creators have T-shirts on Black Swan Tactical,
And they're on sale
where
this weekend for Independence Day.
and all of my merch on Black Swan Tactical goes to charity. I don't get a
That's
single dime
awesome.
from it.
Good for you, man.
So yeah, and 2AEDU just posted a whole bunch of stuff. He's got some cool shirts, mugs, patches, stuff coming out.
Hell yeah.
Um, so I will name this the Independence Day stream
Ooh, I like that. The Independence Day
because
stream.
it's not Fourth of July, and actually the Declaration of Independence was signed on the 2nd, and it was published on the 4th.
I think it's funny how everyone calls it July 4th. It's almost like we were trained or programmed to not acknowledge independence, but to
Hmm. Hmm.
acknowledge a date that
Yes,
means
yes.
nothing to most people.
I make sure I say Independence Day.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, 2A EDU had a stream. Your last two streams, man, were fire. Like, it was so important for you to go over that information. I will tell you right now that if you have not, I'm not sure, if you have not gone to check out 2A EDU, go check him out and go check out his two recent streams because he literally went through and read the Federalist Papers. He went through and, like, this is somebody that is a proponent of freedom and independence, true freedom and independence, where your rights were given to you by God, your God, whoever that may be, for sure, brother, and guaranteed to you by the Constitution being a restriction on government and the fact that they're unable to encroach as they encroach all the time. Every, yeah, sorry. Okay, I'll
Well,
get off.
as Chris Ann Hall says, none of us have a Second Amendment right.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as your Second Amendment right. You already have that given to you as the founders say by your creator. The Second
Yeah.
Amendment is an instruction to the federal government to be hands off.
Yeah. Yep. And I would just say pray for our country because we are not headed in a positive direction. And just make sure that you learn as much as you can about certain things to stay as safe as possible, even if it's chemistry. Okay, things like that can keep you safe. Lock picking, growing a garden, like harvesting meat. There's so many things that we don't do anymore that, like, when if the world were to shut down for a week, most people would resort to killing like that. So let's make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. I always say it, but be a person of love, care, compassion, contribution. Take care of the people around you, and be as dangerous as you possibly can at the same time. And with that, the Independence Day stream has come to an end. So thank you, and thank you, Rich, for coming on. I appreciate you, brother.
Always good hanging out with you.
Absolutely. All right, guys, take care. Thank you.